Bertman,
Absent.
Nancy Beckwith here, Tom Santacruz,
Here.
Randy Ackley,
Here.
Peter Legnos,
Here.
Deborah Montero, here, Ken Richards,
Here.
Ron Uhas,
Here.
Todd Page,
Here.
Kurt Floyd,
Here.
Jamie Mulek. Here. Mr. President, we have a quorum.
All right, thank you. At this time, could we have a moment of silence and salute to the flag, please? Second. Any discussion? We have a second? I do. No amendments, then vote to approve those minutes, please.
Aye.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Is that the only minutes? No.
No. I'd like to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of August 27th.
Have a second? Second.
I have some amendments for August 27th.
Okay.
For the motion one discussion, change, Chief Page replied that he did not believe that any bills were received to date. To Chief Page replied that if we had reviewed any bill, and had received any bills, he had not personally seen them. Second correction, for motion one, change the term client as defined as the Board of Directors to client as defined Poquonnock Bridge Fire District. And for motion two, change from motion passed unanimously to motion was 7-1 with Deborah Montero voting no.
Any comment?
Can I just ask a question? Didn't we just vote to approve those?
We voted and
The minutes
approved
before
August
that.
8th. We are now voting on August 27th.
I'm sorry, my fault, sorry.
Any comment on these amendments to this second set of minutes? No. Then all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of September 10th.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So those minutes are recorded for the record. Remarks from visitors. We have a lot of business to do tonight. If you could limit your comments to about 5 minutes, the board would appreciate that, please. Anyone have any comments tonight? Yes, ma'am.
Mary Ellen French. I own the property at 108 B Street. I'm wondering when the person who made the motion to lower the board's budget to $3.5 million is going to acknowledge that he did that, and that part of the problem resulting is that motion.
Thank you. Any other comment? Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to comment on your letter that I found
I'm
on
sorry?
the...
I'm sorry, ma'am. Can you give us your name and your address?
Oh, I'm sorry. Helen Rush, 72 Buddington Road. I'd like to comment on your September 9th letter to the Office of Policy and Management that I got off the internet. I would like to say that I was pleased to see that you did that. And I think it was a board member that said we needed more background. I think you gave your version of the background, and I appreciated that. And I just wanted to respond to that, and I'd like to have dialogue, if you wish, with me. First of all, President Ackley, were you on the board prior to this year?
The
In
board
past
isn't
years?
commenting on anything, ma'am. You're
All
welcome
right.
to express
All right,
anything.
I thought I might be able to have a dialogue, but that's all right. It seems like this isn't a problem that happened yesterday. And I kind of wonder if the board, in its discussions, would let the public know why it had not kept up the pension contributions, for one thing. And also, I would like to say that special meetings, I understand them, but I was glad to see that the public was not going to be denied speaking at the regular meetings. I think it's important to listen to us since we're paying the bills. And the other question I had was, are we now currently paying the bills as we go? And you can't comment on that, but maybe you could say something during your board meeting about paying the bills, if they've been paid. That would be helpful to the public. I'd also like to comment on the last part of your letter, which said August 29th, the Connecticut State Board of Labor Relations issued a decision in order finding the district in violation of the Municipal Employee Relations Act by rescinding the new collective bargaining agreement and ordered the district to cease and desist from failing to implement the new terms. And I think that under those circumstances, as a taxpayer, I think we should honor that contract, and it's been backed up by the labor relations. And I thank you for all your efforts, and I hope that we can all gather together and get a resolution to this quickly. My last comment is, since you went to the Office of Policy Management, why are we paying for a $10,000 lawyer or lawyers? And maybe during your discussions, you could let the public know that, so we're better informed. Thank you.
Thank you. At the meeting on August 27, 2013, you explained that Groton Utilities will take down all wires and fix the lights at no charge. By all lights, it's safe to assume you're talking about the opticons that control the traffic lights, as you've spoken about that in previous meetings. I spoke with Herbert Cummings, General Manager of Electric at Groton Utilities. He advised me that they wouldn't be removing the wire for free, as they don't have that kind of money to work for free of charge. He also explained that Groton Utilities would not touch state-owned equipment, and since all opticons that Poquonnock Bridge maintains are state-owned, it's safe to say they won't be doing that for free either. I also have documentation that you spoke to with George Scully, and he advised you that Groton Utilities would be willing to remove the wire. You got part of it right, but the two of you did not discuss cost. Did you intentionally lie to the taxpayers and the other board members, or were you hoping to just sneak through a bill after the job was done? Mr. Uhas, at the meeting on August 27, 2013 regarding the box alarm system, it was stated, I quote, "Everybody in the world is getting rid of these things." I have a list here spanning 19 states listing cities and municipalities still using a working box alarm system. While a couple are no longer in service, with just a little bit of research, I was able to add a half a dozen that are still in service, not included in this list. This just shows alone that not everybody in the world is getting rid of these things as you planned. In addition to this, in 1995, the City of New York was taken to court in the case Civic Association of the Death of New York City Incorporated versus Rudolph Giuliani et al. In this case, the city wanted to remove the boxes and was taken to court under the Americans with Disabilities Act. The federal lawsuit resulted in a permanent injunction by a federal judge blocking the removal of the box alarm system and ordering the city to maintain them. The judge found the box system provides the only method by which deaf and hearing impaired can report an emergency. This ruling was upheld again on August 15th of 2011. It's clear by past practice that some of the board members enjoy spending my tax dollars for lawyers, but are you willing to spend more money in court for the removal of a perfectly maintained and working fire alarm system? And finally, Ms. Nancy Becker, you are a respected board member. You had a good balance between fiscal responsibility and public safety. I'm not sure what happened to that woman. I'm not sure if the schoolyard bully, Alan Ackley, promised to stop taking your lunch money if you go along with whatever he said, but it's more important now than ever for you to give back the respect to the taxpayers and do what I think you know is right. Thank you.
Prior to last year, when Mr. Ackley forced a change in the number of board members in order to get back control of the board, there were 5 members instead of the 9 there are now. The members were Alan Ackley since 2001, Peter Legos since 2003, Nancy Beckwith since 2006, and Tom Santa Cruz for much longer than any of the others. The 5th seat had been vacant for a while due to a member moving out of town. It's obvious to anyone with a brain that the district did not become financially insolvent during the month of July 2012, in the 1 month that Mr. Ackley and Legnos were out of office. The now and former board members are responsible for any financial mismanagement that has led up to the current crisis, up to and including the budget amount that they keep pointing to as the reason for looking into bankruptcy of the district. I read the letter you submitted to the state. The details you left out are much more telling than anything in that letter. But evidence and proof is available to state officials, and I'm willing to bet they're not as gullible as your supporters here in town. The state will see the whole story instead of just the parts you want them to see. They won't just take your word for it. The board members responsible should be removed at the least for incompetence, at the most for deliberately sabotaging the ability of the district to function. For the record, I do not approve your giving any more of my hard-earned tax money to lawyers. Use it instead to pay for public safety like you're supposed to.
2013, we had a total of 161 alarms for the month of August. Of significance, on August 21st, Engine 33 responded mutually to State Street in London for a third alarm structure fire. This was a four-story building and involved the roof of the building. Engine 33 assisted by cutting the roof and performing overhaul operations. I also responded and served as an incident safety officer. The ladder truck, we received an offer to purchase a ladder truck from Five Star Fire in East Hartford. They included their letter in your packets. The auditor, we received a letter from Brian Roth, the district's auditor, indicating his firm will not be available to perform the audit this year due to multiple family emergencies within their staff. They essentially can't handle the workload. Jamie's been contacting other districts to see who they use, just to kind of poll and get ideas. And I believe we get that in your packets as well.
A list of orders?
Or letter from the auditor.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Respectfully submitted by the
Thank you.
Rescue operations, which included operating the department's boat and conducting victim removals from the water. Also, members participated in an online course for electric vehicle safety and conducted building familiarization tours. Under apparatus, Engine 33, our 2000 Smeel pumper, went to LJ Welding to have 2 broken steps repaired. The tongue crank had to be replaced on the department's boat trailer. I will be arranging to have a lift motor for the ladder rack replaced on Engine 31, our 1994 Central States pumper. I received an inquiry from 5 Star Fire, a subsidiary of Freightliner Hartford, yesterday about our tower ladder. It's what the Chief Page had mentioned. They visited Long Hill Station in order to view the truck and get some details about its condition. After careful inspection, they expressed an interest in purchasing it, and we forwarded the letter to you. Finally, under buildings, concerning the new energy-efficient AC units installed at Long Hill Station at the end of May, it appears that there has been some savings in energy costs as a result of installing the new units. I am tracking the use and associated cost and have seen a small improvement. However, it has only been the 3 months, so it's very hard to determine with so many bills to prepare. The generator at Long Hill Station has been tripping the gas detector upon startup. I cleared the brush from around the fresh air intake, which helped up until this past week's exercise when it tripped the gas detectors again. So I've contacted our generator people to take a look at that. In addition to what you have in my report, I also had made contact with city utilities today, and they in fact do have the rebate application from Dunkley, and it's in process, and they expect it about 1 to 2 weeks.
All right, very good.
The board decided to surrender 8 life insurance policies due to the fact that the premiums increased by 300%. So we decided to surrender them and put the money in the obligation fund to pay the volunteer pensions. There was a court order this month that said anybody that surrendered them and didn't reinstate them, we were given $175 per policy. So we got 8 checks for $175, so $1,400.
So we don't have to act on it.
No, it's just,
I don't have a formal report, but I did want to report that I received for the record a copy of the report from the fire marshal for the month of August, and that we had correspondence since our last regular meeting. We had 2 FOI requests, both from Michael Lowell, and the district has responded to both of them.
Thank you very much. First is alarm maintenance. Anyone care to comment on alarm maintenance and where we're going with that?
Well, Todd, you couldn't skip the list.
We developed a list of the master boxes and we sorted them by essentially the owner of who would be responsible. We're gathering mailing addresses for those.
So you're talking like up at the post office, it would be Mall Incorporated, Olson's.
Well, post office isn't owned by Mall Incorporated,
But that mall there, yeah.
Because our lists don't necessarily associate directly who the owner is, so the fire marshal has to go through each occupancy and try to find an address, and then he needs to verify it with the town GIS system, so to make sure that they still own the property. So just so we have a place to mail the letter to.
So at what point in time do you think that those letters can go out? Given the fact that...
Well, we have to write the letter.
Well, that's not going to follow.
Do you have an ECD from the fire marshal?
We don't have a specific date, but I would expect, I don't know if he's here, but like a week or so to gather that information. They still have their other obligations.
So we can get that out within a couple of weeks, maybe?
I would think so.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comments on alarm maintenance? No?
I do have
Yeah,
a
go.
question. Did we ever find out how much it's going to cost us to dismantle? I mean, I know that there's stuff has been looked into, but I mean, the actual, whatever has to be done as far as dismantling.
We're not planning on dismantling it right now.
Okay.
We're just sending out the letters to the businesses that they have
Okay,
to be
yeah, I know, but then-
responsible. And we planned on keeping the boxes up, just removing the red lights to save that cost
Okay,
on top of the boxes, and doing only repairs when the system goes down.
okay.
Or if
That's
somebody
just for
sees.
now, okay.
And then we'll work further. This way we don't have to bring the money forward to remove it, because the system is still operable. But everybody that has to have a box by code should get their own system in case we do have a problem, funds run out or something, then they're covered by code. And I think that's how we left it, not to
Okay.
completely remove them.
Okay.
Any other comments on alarm maintenance?
So we decided we're going to continue to provide maintenance for no income, no mistake. What are we doing with that? Kind of
We had
updated-
said
we've
that
kind of
we
updated
get
there.
reimbursed, so we were going to keep doing that.
Okay.
Isn't that correct, Todd?
At this point.
At that point, we're just coming.
Okay, next order of unfinished business is the proposed budget status. Todd has provided 2 estimated budgets. Has anyone had a chance to review them? No? You have?
Yep.
Do you need more time to digest the different budgets? The 2 different budgets that's been presented.
I would like to make a comment.
Yes.
I have had a chance to review them, and unfortunately, neither one of them is a win-win for anyone. They both, depending on which option, you go with. They both propose substantial layoffs, elimination of fire inspector position, layoff of the office clerk, closure of the Fort Hill Station, which doesn't come as a surprise to anyone, elimination of the fund balance calculation. In one of the scenarios, the end result is the inability to respond to any type of emergency, whether it's fire or medical or anything else. So, and the meeting the other night with the attorneys has certainly indicated that whatever action we take at this point, this is going to be a long process. So in the meantime, we're running out of money. And depending on how certain things go, we could run out as early as November. We may not run out until January. I think that we need to take some other action in order to get us through, perhaps through the end of the fiscal year. And that other action is going to be to levy a supplemental tax. And to that end, I would like to make a motion to schedule a special meeting of the taxpayers to vote on a FYE 2014 supplemental appropriation in an amount sufficient to carry the district through to the end of the fiscal year with no changes to operations. I'd like to make that motion.
And I'd second that motion.
Second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor? I'm sorry, you want discussion on that?
Yeah, I think we should have discussion before we vote on it. I can't support that because we were just advised by an attorney that that is not possible, and that doesn't meet state statute. So for us to spend the money to have a special meeting of the taxpayer, which is a significant cost, which is, according to our attorney, is a violation of state statute,
Well,
I don't know why we would do that.
Who has the power then to do a supplemental appropriation? Is it the board?
No, I think that if I don't know how this works, but as we are set up, we don't have that ability. We're not a municipality. We are a fire district under a municipality. And so they at least it's the research that Glenn had done, Glenn Carberry, and the other, they said there doesn't seem to be a vehicle to do that. Perhaps if we can accelerate this work with OPM, there may be some vehicles that can ask that question. And there can be some intervention from the state, and I think we ought to work as quickly as possible on the OPM side, and I think we could end up with a vote, but we got to find out how we can do that. Because if we don't do it properly, we get voided, so I don't want to, I want to do it as quickly as possible, but I think your idea is a good idea, but I think we should probably get to the field quickly. So as part of that, we could also discuss, after we finish your motion, is a way to get that going quickly with OPM. They sent us a letter as we sent them a letter, so let's try to get that going as quickly as possible. Maybe there's a solution there to get some additional money.
Any other discussion on the motion?
I do remember the discussion with the Rhode Island attorneys. It wasn't clear to me that it was absolutely verboten that we asked the taxpayers to come back. Perhaps I misunderstood, but I know he said that there were questionable things about that, and so that's why I made the motion, because I thought there's a lot of questionable stuff going on anyway, so why not throw that into the mix?
Any further comment on the motion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor of Ms. Montero's?
I'm still voting for it.
Opposed?
design this motion, but I think we need to get something going as quickly as possible at OPM, so we can get either to a vote of the taxpayers or the residents. So how do we accelerate that? So I'd like to discuss that.
You want to do that without legal counsel, or you just?
No. Well, they've already said, go ahead with that. You know, I mean, we will, I'm sure we're going to need help from our counsel
Well, what I
because
meant was legal counsel being in contact with OPM. Or do you want to?
we've directly contacted OPM. They've directly contacted us. They're willing to do this. I think we should contact them and say, hey, can we do this sooner or later because of our financial condition? You know, you've got both sides of this equation here. You got the district that's trying to pay it, and you've got the people that need the money, and we can't delay it.
I agree with you, Peter. I don't think we need a motion. That they said they want to talk to us, and we said we want to talk to them. So let's
Do it fast.
Alan, call them up and get a meeting going. So
Who
we
do you
can
want
see
to
what
do
they can do
this?
to
Who do
help
you want
us.
to do this negotiation? You want to use?
Subcommittee or
Yeah, do you want to create a committee? Do you want it with Gary and myself?
I'd be happy.
I'd like to sit in
Or
on
you,
that if I
sure.
could, please.
I'd be
Or
happy
I'll
to
do it with Deb. You want to do it?
It's fine.
So who's going to be on the subcommittee?
Deb,
I will.
Peter, and Gary.
Gary, whatever, it's fine.
Good, okay.
Warning him since he's not here.
Oh, right, Gary. So they will respond to the letter that was sent to you.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah, or you could just give them a call.
The letter was sent to me and the letter I sent to them.
right.
Oh,
Want to do it fast. Okay.
your court.
Okay.
I assume you want me involved.
Absolutely. Absolutely, because you
More
got the
than willing.
You got the numbers, you got the information, and I think that we really got to get moving on this.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, are we gonna just let things run status quo then until we talk to them? Or how do you wanna handle that?
Well, I think we're on top of
Status
it
quo.
tomorrow.
You mean with regard to the budget?
With the budget?
Yeah, I
I
think
think
we
so.
should speak to them first.
Well,
to
the
see-
longer we wait,
I did some calculations subsequent to providing those proposals, and essentially for each month that you wait, going out the next 2 months.
Oh, no, we're not waiting a month.
Well, I'm just saying, just to give you an idea,
Yeah.
there's an additional layoff. So
For every month.
1 month equals one more layoff, so I figured that out until December. So basically next 2 months.
You know, I intend on having a special directors meeting as soon as we find out from Deb, Peter, Gary, what they found out.
You know, I'd like to talk to them literally tomorrow, and then have an initial meeting next week if at all possible, because it's an emergency.
Okay, very good.
I have a question. I remember at the annual meeting, at the end, we had voted to, and I'm not saying this is the way to go, however, when we're getting tight, we authorized loans as needed. Is this something we should consider? Should we consider a line of credit against Fort Hill before we close it? Something of that nature to keep us sustained?
we don't own Fort
We
Hill.
don't own it? I know we researched that, or not, we didn't research it, but they approved the loans. I mean, is it something we want to consider before we consider laying somebody off?
Well, the problem is
Yeah.
that if you're taking a short-term loan, you're taking it against the budget
Yeah.
that exists to pay it back. We don't have that.
No, but
So
we're also taking,
no one's going to loan you
I
money.
don't know this meeting.
So it's just, as a business matter, I think it'd be very difficult. So that's why
I just don't.
time is of the essence.
Oh, I agree.
I don't know this meeting.
And, you know, and I think, you know, like we are, you know, there were some questions about, you know, on the financial side about, are the pension, why haven't we been making pension contributions? We have been making pension contributions, except the town pension plan is way behind right now. And they had to put in almost $2.5 million this year onto the taxpayers to pay and we put on $428,000 for the shortfall, just our part of the pension plan. And now with the new contract, when that went through last July, There was just no way we could pay for that on the budget we had last year. And this last year, this board, because of the unfunded liabilities, which we weren't really clear on until this last meeting when the auditors came in, that we needed to put away $1 million a year for unfunded liability. We put that in the budget, and everybody thought it wouldn't get voted because it raised the budget so high. So, and in fact, that's why so many people showed up.
That was life insurance and health insurance for retired firefighters. We owe, by the auditor's account, $3 million, maybe. It could be 4, it could be 2, but it's a big chunk of money right now. So that's unfunded at this point.
Yeah. And in the 10 years I've been on the board, health insurance has gone up probably 140%. That's really killed us. And in the last probably 5-6 years, and longer than that, the return on investment on the pension funds has been so bad that that's not the firefighters' fault, that's not the district's fault, that's everybody's, just it's happening everywhere. It's happening to the town. Their contribution for just their straight shortfall on the page you go has gone from a little over $1 million to $2.5 million. But it's about a little over 103% is what I calculated. It's gone up since 2010. So we're all facing the times, and that's part of the issue. And I think we are currently paying our bills. That was the other question. So I hope that answers your question.
Okay, very good. First item on new business is the pilot money request by the town council.
Yes, we received a letter from the town council that they're not issuing any or distributing any of the pilot funds until they meet with the individual fire districts. So to date, we have not received any money from the town, and we have to pick a day when some number of us can attend a meeting up there.
Are they, the impression I get is they want to meet with each district separately?
I believe so, that's what I've seen on TV.
Yeah, that's the impression I got as well.
So we basically just have to pick a date that fits. So they're on all Tuesdays, and the next one would be September 24th. October 8th, October 22nd, November 12th, November 26th, December 10th.
Well, we got to go for the first date.
So the 24th?
No, I don't think they can do the 24th. If I remember.
Somebody else already picked
What's
it?
the date today?
12th.
I don't think they'd be able to do the 24th,
The 27th.
the council, because of agenda issues and everything. October 8th.
Any problems with October 8th?
This doesn't matter to me, but that's assuring right away.
If they could do the 24th, could we do the 20th? If it is possible?
Well, if somebody wants to contact their office and see if the 24th is okay. I'm just speaking from
Yeah, it may not be.
experience with agendas and agenda packets.
The amount of what they have on the plate?
Yeah, so if they can meet, if somebody wants to come, Nancy, if you want to call the office and see if they can do it on the 24th, but
Yeah, or the 8th.
I just suspect that might be a problem, so I would go with the 8th.
All right, I'll call and see if we get it on the 24th, if not on the 8th.
Randy, Ronnie?
I'll go.
I'll go as well.
I don't go on the 24th.
All right. All right. Moving on, agenda, the standard practice number 1. Is this Deb's?
Yeah, and unfortunately, I've not had an opportunity to pick up a copy of the standard practices from Todd. So if I remember correctly, when I looked at the standard practices at the last regular meeting that Nancy let me look at, I have 2 things that I wanted to bring forward to the district board. Number one, I remember at that meeting, I wanted to talk about something that we had discussed in prior meetings, but because it wasn't on the agenda, we had to suspend the rules. And that's, I shouldn't have had to do that. And the reason why is because, according to the standard practices 1, there is an item, a line item, that's supposed to be included in all the agendas, and it hasn't been, and that's old business. And if old business were put in the agenda, then I could have brought up what I wanted to discuss, which was not new business. Unfinished and old business is, see, when you put unfinished business in there, that's different than old business. Unfinished business, you specifically put down like alarm maintenance and that sort of thing. Old business is when you're bringing up something that is not specifically identified on the agenda, but is something that has been brought up, you know, with the board in the past. And as I said, if you look at the standard practices 1, there is a specific line item that says old business. And so I'm just wondering if we could just go ahead and put that in there in the event that.
I want to check the FOI rules on that, because I was advised that this agenda has to be extremely specific. It couldn't just be new business, you have to list what it is. Can't be just unfinished business, you have to list what it is. So I need clarification on FOI rules. If we can just carry a generic old business without listing what it is.
All right, yeah, if you would check, I mean, that is pretty standard practice for municipalities and other entities. So I would be very surprised if they said that you couldn't put old business. And as I said, if it's not allowed by FOI, I'd like that, you know, I'd like to hear that. And then what we need to do then is revise the standard practices 1 so that you take that old business line item off of there, because right now it's on there, and so it looks like we're supposed to be having it on our agenda.
At what point in time did old business be replaced with unfinished business?
I don't think I ever paid attention to it. I started with the template when I took over as clerk, and it always said this.
As long as you've been here, it's been unfinished?
Before I came, it was unfinished.
Leave it up to me to bring it up.
Well, actually, it actually has comments at the bottom on the agenda versus how we carry it in the top of the meeting, too.
All right, so you're going to work on that next
Yeah, I'll call Betsy. She's the one that gave me advice on making sure we list everything specifically. So I'll clarify that with her. And if I need to call the state, I'll do that too.
Yeah, I would, you know, honestly, I'd rather hear it from the state.
With that said, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules to add.
But I had one other thing, I'm sorry, I wasn't done yet. The other thing with the agenda is, one of the things that has bothered me a lot, not only since I've been on the board, but before as well, is that there is no conduit to respond to the taxpayers. If they stand up and they ask questions, the standard answer from the board is, we don't have to answer your questions, or we're not answering any questions. And I think this just creates more of an impasse between our connecting with the taxpayers and the taxpayers connecting with us. Now, I've been on enough boards and commissions to know that when somebody stands up and asks a question, you can't take the time to answer every single facet of their question. It's just not reasonable. But I think that if, you know, we could respond by saying, well, that's something that, you know, we'll have to look into and get back to you. You know, come and talk with me after the meeting. I'll get your name. I'll give you a call. We'll look into it. No, that's not going to be possible. I just don't think that it's good practice, given the antagonism that seems to exist between the taxpayers and et cetera, or some of the taxpayers, that we continue to tell the taxpayers we're not going to answer their questions. They are the people that we represent. And for us to tell them that we're not going to answer their questions is very, very bad practice. And all it does is inflame even further a situation that's already volatile. And so I would like for this board to reach out if there's something that's asked at a meeting that can be answered fairly quickly or without going into a big, long discussion because you don't want to open up big, long discussions. I think we should answer it if it's a fairly quick question.
Well, you know, that's why I wrote down those questions.
Yes,
The appropriate
and
time
I was going to
answer
tell
them.
you that I appreciated that.
Well, and I think that's the way it should be done, because I think if we get into a debate on the floor.
No debate, no
I mean,
debate.
but that's been happening, and I think that, you know,
But, and it
I've been told I'm
doesn't,
going out in a body bag, you know, that
Well,
really make me happy.
it doesn't,
you know, so.
there's definitely should not be debate ever between the board and the taxpayers or anyone else. There should never be debate. But there certainly needs to be a little bit more willingness on the part of this board and the members of this board to interact with the taxpayers and say, you know what, I can't, you know, we can't go into that right now because, you know, it's a little more involved. And, but if you want to come to us later.
I think the way we did this, if there are questions, some of these weren't questions. You know, they were
No,
not
I agree. I
But the
understand.
ones that were questions, at the end of the period, if we can work it in, I think that's absolutely. We don't have to do anything special to do that.
No,
Point of
that was
courtesy.
just, yeah, but that was just, I didn't know how else to get it in except under the agenda thing, so I just want to mention that, so.
Well, another alternative is
Supposed to
that,
respond, I get it.
another alternative, Deb, is to request that criticisms be submitted in writing, and then we can just bring them up here and address them.
Yeah, yeah.
The attorneys recommended to us not to take any more public comment because we've got so much work to do, I think.
Oh, well, that's absolutely, I'm sorry.
Did you hear that, or am I not?
No, I certainly did not hear that. And I'll tell you what, that would absolutely create a firestorm that you don't even want to see raining down on you. Because if you then cut out the ability of the taxpayers of this district to even stand up and voice their opinions, good, bad, or ugly, and a lot of them are ugly, and maybe well-deserved in some respects, I mean, you'll just, that's
I
going to
don't care if you want to address them or not, I'm just telling
I'm
you.
not
what I
saying
heard.
address the criticisms, Ron. I'm saying if somebody has there is no response to a criticism. You sit here, you say, thank you very much, and that's it. You're not going to get into a debate with people on it.
No, we'll be glad to
But
give you
if
the
there are
facts.
questions that people have, and they honestly want answers to it, and it's couched in a question way as opposed to a critical or criticism, you know, well, why aren't you doing this type thing?
Well, I
But if
think
they
that-
honestly have questions, the lady over here had
That
questions
was
this
fine.
evening, and some of them were, you know,
They were
were
answered.
appropriate,
They
they
were
were
absolutely
answerable, and they were
answerable.
appropriate. But I certainly did not hear any of the attorneys say that we should not take any public comments at all, because that
Well,
would create
He
something.
made that comment
That is what-
in the context of to prevent incivility, because, and I think that's what his point was. If it's going to create an argument or a debate on the floor, you shouldn't take that. So
Well-
that's what his point, and I think that's a good point.
You
I
don't
think-
debate. You don't
I
debate.
understand, but that's the reason he suggested that in certain cases. And I think that we you know, and I think we do listen politely, and, but I think that if there are things that can be answered, I'm going to make an effort to do it.
Yeah, well, I don't have
you
a
know.
problem doing it, I'm just
No, I
telling you
think-
what
Well,
I was told and I heard.
Well, I think it should happen after the public comment. We write down the things that need to be answered, and then after the public comment, we'll answer them, you know, separately, so that it is not a discussion. Fair enough? That
Well,
gives
that's fine
everybody
with
the
me, I don't
chance to
care.
ask. You're good with that, right?
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
And as long as everyone understands, and I think everybody here does, that there's not going to be debate in any way, shape, or form.
Well, I think just the way we did it, where we do it after the fact, not as a direct response at the time. I think then it'll be, you'll get the answers, but without, with it being somewhat separated, so we don't get into the instabilities.
That's fair, thank you.
Nancy, you want to continue?
Yes,
with-
I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules, to add 2 items based on our special meeting from 2 days ago. The 2 items are the funding being provided to Chase, Ruttenberg, and Freeman, and the union contract.
Do I have a second?
Based on the advice we received by our attorneys to appeal the union contract.
Any discussion? A second on that? I have a second. Discussion on appealing the union contract. Yes.
We had a lengthy discussion in executive session the other night concerning this business. And I just want to let everyone know here that I don't think that we should be going against our obligations in any way. I think that we've received a ruling from the Labor Department. However, apparently there may be some basis for appeal. I don't know if it'll get anywhere or not. I'm going to vote in favor of this, but the reason why I'm voting in favor of this is because one of the things that an appeal can do, because right now, the way the appeal has come down, we've got 30 days within which to start meeting all of the obligations, which means paying all of the back. And although I think that's what's going to happen eventually anyway, if that happens, we are going to run out of money well before January or February. And that's not going to give us time to go through whatever processes that we need to go through in order to try and resolve things with OPM or anything else. So I am going to vote in favor of this, but only so that we can hopefully get a stay, which is a legal term and just means that we can continue to not honor the contract until there is a resolution in the courts. The judge may not, it's not a foregone conclusion that the judge will approve a stay. I don't know what's going to happen. However, I do feel strongly that we do need the time, and so I am voting, although I'm against the appeal, I'm going to vote in favor of it so that we can stay the payment so that we don't run out of money before we can continue down the road with the process.
I'd just like to add that the reason that I made this motion is that our attorneys advised us that there were clear legal errors in the ruling, and they feel there's a good chance of the court will agree.
Any other discussion on the motion? Motion is made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that's
So
number
the-
is
7-1.
okay.
6-1, sorry, Alan, I keep counting you and you can't
Yeah.
vote.
Okay.
The second item that I wanted to add was the payment of monies to Chase, Ruttenberg, and Freeman. We need to authorize paying them some more money to continue to support us.
Up until, what, $10,000 more is what the original,
It's up to 10.
Well, yes,
you
but
set it at 10.
one of the things that was pointed out in the executive session is that we do budget legal fees. And we have budget for legal fees that don't say they only go to Glenn Carberry, and that is that group.
Right.
So, I think that we have to give them much more license than we gave them. Their hands are already tied.
Was that a motion?
Raise it 10 more.
No,
How much do they want?
I think I'm
I thought they just wanted another 10 up to 20.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I think it's 20. And they said they might not use it, but it has a cushion in case.
Yeah, the original deal was that if we got them to 20, that they would work and let us know when they needed more, if they were gonna go over that amount, wasn't it?
that was the original request, and we didn't give it to
You gave
them.
them 10.
We gave them 10, so if we give them another 10, they'll have the 20, and if they're gonna go over that, then they can, unless you've got a number that they gave you.
I don't even know, I'm gonna let you take notes in here, so.
I thought they wanted another 10, is the way
That's
I.
that was my
Received a copy of
understanding.
this, at the meeting.
No.
This is the contract, which is, it's an additional 10,000, I believe.
Yeah, so it's only, they're asking for another 10
Okay,
right
then
now.
I'll move to authorize another 10,000.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second. We got 400,000 on the pension.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor of increasing the payment to Chase Ruttenberg and Freeman for $10,000? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Didn't vote for it the first time, not voting for it now.
Okay.
5-2.
But Nancy makes.
4-2.
Nancy made a good.
5-2.
Oh, 2, okay. I was thinking, I thought you were counting Alan.
No,
You made a good point that realistically, we've retained them, but they really, after that point, could come under legal fees. They wouldn't need any further motions.
Okay. Moving on, go to the department.
The auditor issue, we need to accelerate that process because they need time to, to actually do the audit. Normally they have the votes by now. We're only successful in getting one name. That's what Old Mystic uses, a firm out of Branford called I can't pronounce it, Solicane Chafia and Company.
Do you want me to look for a couple names?
That'd be fine, but I think the board is required to vote to authorize the auditor, so, you know, I'm not going to suggest you authorize them based on this proposal, but we need to accelerate that process somehow.
you want us to authorize you to go to do the audit or hire another audit firm? What do
We
you
basically
looking
need to hire a new auditor.
Okay.
But I don't think that's.
I have to file it with the state because we've already filed with the state, the one that we used to have.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to authorize the hiring of another audit firm.
Is there a second?
Well, who's gonna decide on the firm? You
Yeah,
decide, or-
yeah.
I don't feel comfortable deciding on that. I don't think that's my.
So we're gonna look and then bring it before the board, is that how you wanna do it?
I think we need to do that. I think that's
Have a special meeting.
Investigate other, yeah, we have to make sure we get somebody
We're
that.
likely to have another special meeting.
We'll have to have a special meeting.
Do you want to just wait, find the firm, and then we'll do the meeting?
You want to withdraw your motion?
I'll withdraw my motion.
I just wanted to make the point that we need to
Yeah.
accelerate that process.
So you can still look into other audit firms.
Yeah, I know.
With any other municipalities, they may know auditors, because they always all vote these law firms.
The reason I just decided to call on the fire districts to find out who they use was because if you got an auditor that's already familiar,
Yeah.
since you're
That's
already
true.
3 months behind, already familiar with the ins and outs of the fire district, I just thought that,
Did you call anybody out of town?
I didn't call anybody, I just called the old Mystic,
Okay.
I called Mystic, but I didn't get a call.
Actually, that's
I'm
actually.
gonna call my kid,
Okay.
who's an auditor, town auditor,
Oh, okay,
for towns and stuff.
Yep.
He's probably got a list of firms.
okay.
Okay, was that part of the department?
This is last year's audit, so there's really, there's.
No, she doesn't have to check that contract. You have, that's, you have.
All right,
Contract is open.
But this is,
any other comment on good of the department?
Retroactive. So it is
Oh,
retroactive.
the other thing was,
Please have this one. I'm gonna bring that up.
the ladder truck issue.
Oh, on the,
Not with it all together. I approached the junkyard and with it all together.
Nancy, how does that work, bringing up issues that aren't on the agenda
We suspended the rules.
for the ladder truck?
no, not
We
the
suspended the rules for,
Yeah, for that,
Yeah.
now we have to suspend the
rules
rules.
to talk about the ladder truck.
That's right.
Well, isn't this the good of the department?
No.
No.
So I need
More new business.
I need a motion to include what's the name of the people from regarding the ladder truck.
I make a motion to suspend a month. Presentation and payment of bills announces how many bills are being paid for the month. So this month, we are signing checks to pay $159,149.90. As I said, it's every month we announce another figure and we sign checks authorizing that.
Very good. That, for the record, $159,149.90 is accepted into the record.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? This meeting is